Welcome, everybody. My name's Maralee Burnett. I am your astrologer, back with the messages for Monday, April 13th, 2026, which is going to see a huge reset, a very powerful, potentially healing new moon in the sign of Aries, and a pretty active sky overall that's helping us finally move on, move forward, to get going. And that's what Aries energy is all about. So, of course, here I am to break it all down again. So make sure that you're clicking on that subscribe button below. Maybe you can click on that hype button so I could get a little bit more traction on my channel too. And that way you get notification every time I post this content, which is on the weekends. And then as far as my daily content, I pull a tarot card and I mix in a little bit of astrology on those daily posts as well. It's a quick hit, 1 to 2 minutes. Who doesn't have 1 to 2 minutes? So take a look at that, as well as going out and joining my website, maraleeburnett.com. That gives you access to all of my free written content, like the article for this new moon in the sign of Aries. Of course, I also have the monthly article for all signs, and it will include a little snippet there about the new moon as well. So you get this video, you get a full article, and you get a little tip day by day with the monthly breakdown as well. Also have tools out there to help you get prepared for all the upcoming transits for the remainder of the year. So simply joining and becoming a member of my website gives you access to a ton of information. So I hope to see some of you there, as well as where you can now once again book sessions with me. So I am back and taking clients again after my little hiatus. So thank you to those that waited for me to get back from my long road trip. I appreciate all of you and all of your support. With that, because we have a really detailed week, we're going to dive right in. Now, this new moon, I will give you the brief preview here as we do the weekly breakdown, and then I will go to the end to give the breakdown by sign so that you have easy access to that. And I do go out and put timestamps on as well so that you can quickly go and look at the information. So take a look at last week's information. How were you aligning with the shifts and changes? Especially, how are you feeling as far as your motivation level goes? That can be because of the energy of the planet Mars that has now moved into its home sign of Aries, where it will remain for the next 6 weeks approximately. So this is why I say it's really time to finally get going. And this new moon astrologically is the first new moon in the first sign of Aries. So again, we have that burst of newness energy that is revived, and we might begin to feel a little revived as well. So let's do the breakdown, starting, as I mentioned, here on Monday, April 13th. And that's what we'll start with. We'll look at the fact that we do have Mars at 2 degrees of Aries, and it's having a conversation with Neptune. So if you've been with me, you know, or you've been with any astrologer, you know, in February we had this big reset moment, this new chapter in our lives, in the collective's lives, that began when Saturn and Neptune met at 0 degrees of Aries. Now, they came close together last year, but this year they were exact. It was February 20th. And as Mars moved in here last Friday, it activated that point again. And so there is no surprise that we saw Artemis come back to Earth and make a big splash down at that time, because we're talking about Neptune, and Neptune rules the ocean. Now, I'm recording this before it's officially landed. Could there be some excitement with the re-entry? It is very possible. And we'll just have to see how that shows up for us. It's happening here on the West Coast. So water, Neptune, Aries, fire. And so maybe it'll be a bit of a dramatic return to Earth for those that get a chance to actually view that re-entry. But as we get Mars, fire, passion, in its home sign, meeting up with Neptune, our dreams. For some, it's our delusions. For some, it can be a realization that the things that you're using to self-medicate are not good for you anymore. And it's a good time to break free from things like addictions, things that could be like alcohol or drugs, anything that we use to change our state. Those things are associated with Neptune. Because Neptune rules the subconscious mind, Mars can bring an awakening to anything that's been hidden in the subconscious mind. It's also our dream world, our dreamscape, obviously, when we are not in our awake state or dreaming. And there is something that Mars could help ignite. This is also where we are willing to fight for our dreams. It's also the reason why we're in this battle in the Middle East, right? This is a battle over hidden resources, which is oil, religion, which is Neptune, and the conflicts that exist there in different parts of the world, different parts of the country. And this Mars energy can reignite the conflict. So if you paid attention to any of my posts last week, I said, we have a tentative peace agreement, but because of the volatility of the energy, I do not and don't expect that any sort of real peace agreement will stand. There's just way too much hostility. Now, later in the week, as Mars gets closer and closer to Saturn, there can be a little bit more restriction, a little bit more control. We'll see. Again, it's still only temporary. The other thing that we're seeing is Mars and the Pope's actions. So no matter how you feel about the Catholic Church, this is still Mars firing up religious leaders in some ways. And we've already seen that come to reality with some of the pushback from the Vatican first speaking up and asking that everybody put down their weapons and stop killing one another. It seems like a reasonable request, but it was met with a lot of pushback. So that will continue the conflicts between religion and war. We'll see it more over these next 6 weeks. And again, this is where you get the activation of religious zealots, right? Because here's Mars firing up that base. So this week, we just need to be prepared for things to amp up. And I know it's hard to believe they can amp up anymore. But the other thing we can do with this energy instead of attack other people is use it to motivate ourselves, because Aries is the first sign. This is the sign of the self. This is the first house. This is our first experience and expression of life is through the sign of Aries. Who am I? What am I willing to stand up for? What am I willing to fight for? And so people and the images that they want to portray become bigger during these next 6 weeks as Mars moves through its home sign. And keep in mind, there's so much energy in the sign of Aries that it's going to be hard to hide from the truth, hard to hide from reality, hard to not show yourself, hard to contain yourself in some ways. So you're much better finding a positive outlet to pour this excess energy into. So Neptune is dreamy, it's creativity, it's music, it's the dreamscape as far as writing about make-believe things. That's what you want to have as an outlet for yourself in this next 6-week window. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling too much of everything, find a project that you can put that energy into. It can be athletic, right? Mars is a warrior. You could take a kickboxing class, for instance, something where you're able to, burn up the energy, to build up a sweat, to get your aggression out in some way, just not on other people. So this number 2 energy is about finding balance between your passion and your dreams and allowing and bringing those together at this time. The other thing that's helping us move forward, I talked about it last week too, is the fact that now Mercury is clear of all of its post-shadow work. Now it's just new energy, but it's still in the sign of Pisces. So we're still seeing things that we are purging and ending, and weird and strange truths are coming out because of the fact that Mercury, as it moves forward, is stirring up the ocean. It's stirring up submarines. It's bringing things to the surface that are hidden underneath there. And still, Mercury does not do well in this watery, emotional energy. It feels still like it's drowning. So if you're ruled by Mercury, the good news is you only have a couple more days. And Mercury does do better in a fire sign, right? Your mind will move quicker. Your mind and your mouth will be coordinated better. But for another few days, we're still dealing with this energy. And the fact that Uranus is inspiring Pisces is why I say use this energy to create. So again, instead of taking a really difficult test where your mind is still muddled, just create. Just do things with your hands that you don't have to perfect, but you can just, again, channel the energy through them. So we have that helping us on Monday along with the moon. So emotionally, it's a very emotional couple of days as we begin the week because, of course, the moon in Pisces is dreamy and emotional and caring. And so do something to care for other people. And then we're seeing the last bits of the conversation between the two benefic planets. So this started in the weekend, and we still see Venus in Taurus, her home sign, where she's very strong, speaking in harmony with that Jupiter in Cancer. And remember, Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer as well. You're going to see a lot more exposure on the ice detention centers because of this combination of energies that are coming together, to help get better conditions for especially the families that are being detained in these places. So we kick off yet another big week with a lot of things going on and a lot of concentrated energy at the beginning here of the zodiac, and then that little bit of focus still at the end with Mercury and the moon. So let's move ahead to Tuesday, and notice on Tuesday, not a lot is going on except for this big grand finale of Mercury and Uranus. As I mentioned, they were starting their conversations in the last couple of days, but this is that moment where you can have sudden clarity, where secrets can be exposed, where you're being tested. 29 degrees, a critical degree. But I especially think that this is an interesting time that we've had Mercury so long in the sign of Pisces, going through this deep emotional dive underneath the water into the subconscious mind. And whatever we needed to learn or explore or uncover or discover may suddenly shock and surprise us in some way because of the direct connection with Uranus, the planet of surprise and sudden changes and inspiration. So this also on Tuesday could give us some kind of aha moment. And like I said, maybe an aha moment that brings sudden clarity. It also could bring us some shocking, surprising endings because, of course, 29 degrees is the last degree of the sign of Pisces. So it's the end of something, the end of an idea, the end of a dream, a shocking end, but it can be a good surprise, right? This is a sextile. This is a subtle combination of these two planets' energies, but it's the blue. And if you've followed me, I tell you the blue energy tends to be more positive in nature. And we're not seeing a lot of red. We're not seeing a lot of conflicting energy in the sky today. We're seeing a lot of hope. So whatever this ending is, it is for the greater good. And then as that moon moves forward through the sign of Pisces, it is speaking in harmony. There's a trine, and this blue triangle means it's a trine, 120-degree angle. And that is a opportunity for things to feel really good because we have two emotional signs, Pisces and Cancer, working together, and Jupiter expands on whatever it touches. So the moon is our emotions, it's our home, it's our family, it's our homeland. And so there is something today that is helping us realize how to move on, to move forward, to create positive changes in our lives. And so if you're given an opportunity today, even while Venus is still speaking in harmony, even though she's moving forward and separating from Jupiter, this is still a good opportunity. And that means Venus is also speaking in harmony with the moon. So this is the best feel-good day of the week is Tuesday. So use the energy on Tuesday to finish something that you've been hanging on to forever, and you finally need to let it go. You finally need to heal, right? Because Pisces is a very healing energy as well. The moon, your emotions, your intuition, you got to trust it. So if you're looking to do something positive for the week to set you up, this is the day. This is also the day to finish the things that are getting in the way of what you want to start, because in a couple of days we have the new moon in Aries, and that's time. There's no more delays, no more dragging your feet. When the opportunity presents itself, it's going to do it in a big bang way, or suddenly there's this burst of energy and there's no looking back. This is the fire horse energy. This is, as I've described, the fire horse started out at a trot and now it's moving faster, and at this moment it's bursting through and starting to gallop. So there is some serious momentum. But whatever this thing is that you've been working on with this Mercury retrograde over these last several months, you're done. You are done, and it's time to move on. And speaking of moving on, let's move on to Wednesday. And on Wednesday, this is the transition day. So the moon is moving now into the sign of Aries, connected to Mercury. So here we go with Mercury that rules the mind, and the moon that rules our emotions and our intuition. And they're combining once again at the Saturn and Neptune 0-degree Aries point. This is the new beginning. This is the reset. And what is different between when Saturn and Neptune meet, because they create more of a collective change. But these are our personal planets. The moon and Mercury moving the fastest around the zodiac. So they are the energy that we've been waiting for, that brings this new opportunity, this reset into our personal space, something that we can get our hands on and do something with. That's what we get on Wednesday. And here in the United States, it's tax day. So don't forget to pay your taxes or ask for that extension today so that you're not held back from whatever your dreams are. And if I could recommend, don't extend things. Like you want a clean slate. You want your balance to be at 0, just like these planets are meeting today at 0, so that that reset can happen and that you can move on and move forward, just like the Fool card. So the 0 degrees is like the 0 of the Fool card. This is a new beginning, a new quest, a personal quest for you to gain knowledge, for you to think for yourself, to allow yourself to feel things, allow you to trust your emotions, and allow you to express them on your own, not as part of something else. This is about you, your dreams, your passion. And with this Mercury energy, we start to understand that plan that Saturn has been setting us up for, that dream that's a little fuzzy from Neptune's perspective. Mercury helps refine all of the details and make them clear to us. And the moon helps, obviously, us feel fired up and passionate about something. Now, the moon moves about every 2.5 days through a sign. So you want to pay attention. If there's anything I could recommend to you on today, take notes, jot down ideas. Whatever's like trying to burst through today, don't ignore it. Don't discount it. There's something important that we are learning about our personal journeys on this day, and we don't want to ignore it because it'll just hold you back. This is, as I've been calling it, the big bang moment, and we want to take full advantage of it. So such an important reset day on Wednesday. So decide what you want for yourself. And maybe that means taking some time, being quiet, but I think the better avenue is, again, to get out, get moving, and do something that's more exciting. This can, sit and look at a candle in the firelight, right? Activate that fire energy within you. You can eat spicy foods. You can wear the color red. Anything that you can do to connect to this. And most importantly, choose yourself today. So maybe it's doing things like taking an extra long hot shower instead of rushing. Give yourself more time today. Get up extra early. Take that long hot shower. Allow the inspiration to flow to you through the waters as you take that shower. But don't let this day pass you by without being fully aware of what is showing up for you. So that is a really powerful day on Wednesday that you don't want to miss. And you might even think about this 8 a.m. hour, at least here on the West Coast, and taking advantage of that time in particular to do maybe some prep work for the new moon in Aries, which is coming here. And you can use my worksheet on this day that I'll have out there and available to help you be prepared. So look for that link down below so that you can access that and start preparing for your new life in some way. Then as we move on into Thursday, this is when we start to see some really powerful connections being made. So Pluto, of course, in Aquarius is we the people. It's a transformation of power to the people that has been slowly unfolding. So Neptune is an outer planet that spends about 14 years in a sign. And then we have Pluto. It spends almost 20 years through the sign. And they're still speaking in harmony. Sextile of energy activated with Mercury now speaking to Neptune. But the bigger power player here is Mars in the sign of Aries that is working with Pluto. Now, there could be some significant movement in the war efforts in the Middle East today, as Pluto in Aquarius does have a strong association with Iran. So the sextile could mean that there is some kind of agreement that happens that helps open up some waterways, for instance, because Aquarius is the sign of the water bearer. And of course, a ship of oil is moving across the waterways that provide sustenance to the people in the form of energy. So there could be more ships that are allowed to move through the Strait of Hormuz today as a result of this. And then in our own lives, right? So take the big collective picture and then bring it down to our level. And there may be people who show up to help provide you with something that you need that, again, motivates you and helps move you forward and create some kind of a powerful transformation. Because both of these planets have association with the 8th house, with that Scorpio energy of death, rebirth, transformation, power, resources like oil. So there is something very powerful happening today because of this conversation that is going on. And as I mentioned with that Mercury now meeting with Neptune, this is an idea that involves the water and the oceans, and in our own lives it involves our dreams and our emotions and our feelings and our healing. So this is a really good day to focus on healing yourself and gaining information about how to heal. If you want to sign up for a class, this would be the perfect day to do something along those lines. So you may come across an invitation about a course that has to do with becoming your own healer. And I would say jump at it, go for it. Listen to the details, and something might suddenly really click for you, and you might have a better understanding of how you own your healing journey. And your mind, and especially your subconscious mind, has all the power within you to do the healing that is needed. So, check that out. As we move on to Friday, it's the big day. So this new moon in Aries, as I mentioned, it's a pretty powerful one. So the sun and the moon are sitting right next to Chiron. And Chiron's getting ready to start to finish its time as we get to the end of June in the sign of Aries, and then it's going to move into Taurus. So as I mentioned, with the energy of Thursday and that combination of Mercury and Neptune, this ideas about how to heal. Well, Chiron's the wounded healer, is also a teacher and a trainer of the gods. So this new beginning that we're creating with the combination of the sun and the moon in the sign of Aries helps us realize who we are, helps us realize our independence, helps us realize our wounds to our identity and how to heal them once and for all, and how to move forward without that image of yourself as somebody who is wounded. This can be discoveries in medicine that happens on this day, or we come back to this day to realize this was when we had a breakthrough of some kind. Because again, Aries is war and fire and passion and motivation and aggression. It's all the things that get us moving forward. So this is an ideal moon, new moon specifically, for you to get back to basics. Take a look at the goals that you had for yourselves in this fire horse year and refine them. Get more specific, get more granular, get a coach that can help you look at your chart and say, this is the best time for you to launch things. This is the area of your life where you should try to launch something is right now. And that's what the breakdown is going to do here. After we finish looking at these next few days, is I'm going to show you what house in your chart from your rising sign perspective is calling to you, is begging you to break free from anything that has you feeling less confident than it should and start fresh and new. And then we always look at who can help us. The opposite sign of Aries, of course, is Libra. And as we start this new thing for ourselves, we can't forget the other people in our lives and how they can help us, or how what we do for ourselves strengthens our partnerships and relationships. So even though this is Aries focused, you still want to look at where the sun is shining across the sky at Libra to make sure you maintain good balance. Now, what's helping us do that is this Saturn energy with Mars, with Mercury, with Neptune, and they're all having this awkward conversation to the South Node in Virgo. This is where the old systems, the unhealthy, outdated ideas and structures in our lives, they all need to go. This is a karmic point. We are finishing in July with the lessons that we're being given through the North Node and the South Node here in Virgo. And Virgo is a very controlling energy. And so because of the need for perfectionism, now you have something from your past that has been holding you back because you're too afraid of making mistakes. And so you're just holding on to this for dear life, whatever this represents for you. But Saturn is saying it's time to let it go. And so the energy can be very weird, awkward, and uncomfortable if you try to hang on to whatever this is. Now, the conversation between Neptune lasts a lot longer. So you have a little time here to work through the programming, the subconscious thoughts that you're not even aware of that keep running on repeat and keep holding you back. But right now, at the time of this new moon, doing that is going to start to feel uncomfortable. You're going to start to feel something kind of bubbling beneath the surface that is asking you to acknowledge it and then release it and let it go. And all of my hypnosis sessions out there, go listen to them. You can listen to the one for Virgo. You could listen to the one for Aries. No matter what you listen to, it's going to start awakening something for you in your subconscious mind so that it can come to the surface. You can realize it, accept it, let it go, and become the person you're meant to be. Strong, independent, a force to be reckoned with. All of these planets in Aries at the same time make you a force to be reckoned with, as long as you refuse to hide any longer. And that's what the South Node between now and July is going to push us to do, to finish the work, to tear down the systems that no longer work for us and keep us stuck. This is the time to break out, to break free from routines that you don't even know why you're doing them anymore. Now's the time to go, does this even make sense for me anymore? Why do I keep doing this? Why am I holding myself back? Why am I afraid to dream and let go? And the past will speak to you in weird, unusual, unexpected ways, as long as these planets are speaking in this inconjunct or quincunx energy to the South Node. Saturn is a karmic planet as well. It's a planet of lessons. And so there is something that we need to take action on with the help of Mars and Mercury, with the details and the information and the steps we need to take to learn and let go. So it's a great intention to set. I am learning to let go what keeps me from feeling strong, forceful, and independent. So those are the biggest, strongest energies that are existing together, while we, of course, still have that Uranus at 29 degrees. We'll have it for about another week, and then Uranus moves in and stays in the sign of Gemini and really starts mixing and shaking things up. And I think the shakeups are needed and they're necessary. Now, the ruling planet, of course, Mars, is in its home sign while we have the new moon there. So this is why I keep expressing this is a very powerful, very potent new beginning. It can be explosive. It can, again, cause us to break free. So just remember to do healthy things with all of that energy that you feel surging within you, so that you can channel it in a positive way. But I do expect this to be a somewhat explosive new moon because, Chiron was the mythological being that was training the gods for war. So there can be potentially a new leader in a war that shockingly, suddenly has to step up and take over for somebody who's run out of time in their current role as a leader of some military group. So it's going to be a very, very interesting new moon. And of course, it doesn't mean it has to happen only on the new moon. This is the beginning of it. The energy's there the days before, of course, as the sun is talking with Chiron on Thursday. And then we'll start to see those changes highlighted. So really all this week, as that sun is getting closer and closer with Chiron, this may have been highlighted so that we start to see a change is coming. Maybe somebody isn't accomplishing the goals that somebody else wants them to be, and so they're going to be replaced. Good or bad, they will be replaced. Then let's take a quick peek at the rest of the weekend here, and then we'll get to the breakdown for all of the signs. As we move on into Saturday, this is when the ideas take shape, take form. There could be, again, announcements about changes in leaderships. Pluto, the people, and Mercury are combining their energy still here, of course, with Mars and with that Saturn energy. So there can be big announcements today. Maybe information from the past that comes out and is exposed. Maybe it's that information about someone's past that once it's exposed is what moves them on and why they are replaced. So again, some kind of big announcements about change and transformation that affect the people, and innovation could be happening here on Saturday. And for you yourself, right? This again, Mercury in Aries is energy where your mind is focused on the self, where information about helping yourself is what you're focused on. And so Mercury's here for the next 3 weeks. This first week in particular, as it's speaking with Mars, your mind is like very active, very motivated, and consuming and learning new information is a great way to use this energy right now. Now, some of you may feel strongly that you need to speak your mind very aggressively. But instead of aggressive, use this energy to speak up like you're a voice of authority, which is what that Saturn energy helps to do. Saturn in Aries doesn't love being here because Saturn feels like it's being pushed to do things faster than it would normally. And as Mars and Saturn are meeting this week, you're going to feel this drag, like you want to take off. And even with Mercury, I want to speak up, but there's something that's trying to contain the energy just enough so that instead of yelling and getting mad and retaliating, which can happen with Mercury next to Mars, Saturn's what helps put the brakes on a bit. And if you're a person that doesn't like having the brakes put on, then you can feel like you need to retaliate. So I'm just giving you a little warning. You will regret that behavior. You have to learn how to contain your passion and your anger and think more critically about the big picture, about what's going on here, and figure out a way to get what you want by speaking up clearly, setting those healthy boundaries, and then responding in a way that's mature and not childish, Mercury. So it's a very powerful day on Saturday because of the fact that, Pluto, power to Mercury's mind and Mars's aggression and Saturn's authority. But it's supposed to be a positive energy because of the sextile. And what I also find interesting, I've been kind of eyeballing this energy, is Juno, which is Jupiter's wife. That's the energy of commitment and marriage, is speaking with Pluto today as well. And so again, I feel strongly like there's maybe new alliances that will be announced today as a result of all of this coming together. So another powerful day as we hit Saturday. And then as we wrap up the week, while Pluto's influence starts to fade a bit, this connection also makes me think with Juno and Pluto of a woman in a position of authority that is making some moves right now and creating those new alliances. So of course I'm thinking of Venezuela, I'm thinking of Mexico as well, and both of their leaders being females. We have a few others out there as well, but I kind of have my eye on those two areas because of course Venezuela and the oil. And why did, we go in there first before we went into Iran? Oh, all the things that are going on beneath the surface and behind the scenes that have all led to this moment. And then here on Sunday, as I was talking about yesterday, now is when Mars and Saturn come together. And they'll be here as we head into next week as well. And again, these are going to be important days where, and I've said the analogy 1,000 times, we know how much gas and how much clutch to use in order to move something forward. But if you full on put your foot on the gas and you full on put your foot on the brake, which is Saturn, you're not going anywhere and all you're doing is spinning your wheels. So with Mercury added in there now, this is again, understanding the pace that you need to set. So while this is this new opportunity, this new reset, this new beginning that has shown up for you, we're not bolting out of the gates after it. We are inspired to do something, to move forward. But if we don't create the right infrastructure to move forward from, whatever you run after will just disintegrate. So what the sun does as it sits here at the last degrees of Aries is it tests you. Are you sure you want this? Do you know how to go after it? Do you have an actual plan, or are you just chasing after a high? That's what that sun's energy does for us today. So listen to it. Tune into yourself, because only you know what's best for you right now. And that's what this day helps us discover and uncover. And as the moon meets with Uranus today, also at 29 degrees, you can easily overindulge in rich foods. You want to overspend. You see this vision of yourself and you want to indulge in whatever it takes to get it. But there can be some really good surprises in store for you, maybe financial rewards of some kind. If you slow down, maintain control about whatever this new big idea is for you, and set a good pace so that you don't burn out. Because that's the problem with fire energy, is it can motivate us, but if you just keep running like a horse and don't slow down and nourish yourself and get enough water and rest, you'll just burn out. So there's something intense on Sunday that puts the big picture into view about what's possible, and that slow realization of allowing it to unfold and maintaining control instead of just chasing things. This is the day where you sit back, you don't chase, you let things unfold for you instead. And still, like I said, with Saturn and Mars, there's a pace that is needed right now, and Saturn rules time. Saturn's telling you, don't rush. The planet is here for the next 2 years, helping you maintain a pace that's sustainable so that you don't burn yourself out. So this is a really intense time. Take advantage of the energy. Use it to motivate and move yourself forward. And rest. Just rest. I find myself needing naps when the energy gets so warm, and I just do it. I just allow it. Don't feel guilty. Don't beat yourself up. If you're tired, rest. We have so much energy going on around us right now that if we don't unplug and we don't put down the phones and stop constantly feeding yourself information that overwhelms you, no wonder we're exhausted. So this is a day where you can appreciate the dream. You can see what's possible. You can also allow yourself to rest before you start chasing after it. All right. Then we will see, as we move into next week, a change in things, and things will slow down a bit so that we can appreciate them, because we will of course have the sun move into the sign of Taurus, and that Taurus energy is slow, it's earthy, it's grounding. We still, of course, have Uranus in the sign of Taurus, and we'll have a conversation this week between that Taurus ruler Venus with Uranus. So there can be some financial surprises. There can be some relationship surprises. They don't have to be bad, but they could shock you in some way as we see that. And then, as I mentioned, we'll see Uranus next week moving into the sign of Gemini. Now, we had a preview of some of that energy last year, as July through November, I think we saw Uranus in the sign of Gemini. But there's a difference when a planet eases in and gives us a preview versus now we're living it. And that's what we'll see. Now, it can increase the fighting because of the fact that, this is reinvigorating our movement, which is this Gemini energy, our ideas, our verbal conversations, our mind, and we can take those big ideas and do something with them, or we can just become very combative. Missiles, things can fly through the air, right? With this Uranus and Gemini energy. But it's here for the next 7-8 years. And so it's not like we're going to have some intense energy over that same window of time. We have a lot of things to work through. And it can also be very inspirational, big ideas and aha moments. So we'll talk more about that next week, talk a little bit more about the history of Uranus in the sign of Gemini, and know that Uranus takes about 84 years to come back around. And so we're seeing that energy here in the United States and what our history has looked like, of course, with Uranus in the sign of Gemini, and in Europe, where most of the wars have been fought that have created huge shifts in power and alliances. We'll talk about NATO, all kinds of things that could be changing. So with that, let's take a breath. And now let's go back and let's look at this new moon in Aries and how it looks for each of the signs and what you will be wanting to focus your energy and attention on. What new beginning has the best chance of creating breakthroughs for you in the year ahead. All right. So I've adjusted my view a bit so you can see exactly that the sun and the moon come together at 27 degrees. Now, 27, when you look at this from a numerology perspective, is the number 9. 2 and 7 together create 9. So in order to have a new beginning, a fresh start, something has to come to an end. Something about yourself, something that you're a part of, the way you show yourself to the world. There's something that you're completing so this new you can come front and center to the world. And as I mentioned, we have Chiron here as well. And when you have your Chiron return, which is somewhere between the ages of 48 and 50, if you haven't focused on the lesson, the wound that you've been carrying with you, then at that time, you feel a tremendous amount of pain. And now we could be going through a tremendous amount of pain, but out of that pain comes this new resolve, this resolve to heal. And so we will see highlighted the things that are causing us pain, the things that are hurting us, so that we can deal with them and then move on and move forward. That is what this new moon is about. And then, as I mentioned, all of the planets behind this energy are feeding this new moon as well. So what you'll be watching over the next several weeks is as Mercury moves through here the fastest, and then it will be followed by Mars. They'll pass through Saturn's energy. They'll be handed a game plan. And that's why we don't want to rush through whatever this new opportunity is, because all of the pieces, all of the details, all of the plans that we need to solidify this thing in our lives is still coming into our full reality. But you, Aries, this is you. Literally, this is your new moon. This is when you decide who you are in the year ahead. And with all of the energy that you have in your sign right now, you need to be a little careful that you're not too much of yourself. But if you've been feeling imposter syndrome for some reason, then this is the time where you can heal that and you can let it go. Now, I get downloads, random thoughts that just come to me in the middle of some day somewhere and don't seem to make sense. But this is what came through to me in the week before I was doing this recording. And it was thinking about imposter syndrome and how a real imposter is trying to fool other people with ill intent. But when we have imposter syndrome, we just don't believe in ourselves enough and don't think we're capable of doing something new or completely different because we're very comfortable, Saturn, Virgo, in our old patterns and the old systems. So there can be for you, Aries, a mentor, Saturn, that has introduced a new opportunity to you at this time. And in order for you to do the thing, to make the change, you're going to have to feel like you're strong enough, like you have the confidence to do it, that you can heal these wounds that you carry with you that maybe make you not believe in yourself. And so where does that come from? That's what you're uncovering at the time of this new moon. Is it your partner? Is it that energy that's opposing this new moon, that sign of Libra? And if so, what do you need to change there? Do you need to start speaking up for yourself? So now is the time for you to choose yourself, but not in a way that cuts you off from your partner, but in a way that helps rebalance that relationship in some way. So no, this is step one. I'm deciding who I am, what I want, deciding to heal. And when I heal myself, my relationship actually becomes better and stronger, and I'll have the support of a close friend or a partner that will help me fully realize my dream. And I'm going to be patient enough for all of the details, all of the information, all of the plans to present themselves to me so that I'm a success starting over, defining who I am in this chapter of my life going forward. And it's the best time of year to do that and be successful. So you're already fired up this year, Aries. Just don't overdo it. All right. And then, of course, we have the sign of Taurus. And the good news for you, Taurus, is that Uranus is almost out of your sign. And so this unsteadiness that you've been experiencing for the last 7 years is almost over, and it will feel like a sense of relief when you're back to being your steady Eddie South. But the point of Uranus in your sign over this since 2018 is to help you again be, breaking free. So when you have a new moon, Taurus, in your 12th house, which all those Neptune topics that we talked about, all that Pisces energy, this is all the things that are running in your subconscious mind that are keeping you stuck and trapped. Now, sometimes we keep things buried in the subconscious mind and we refuse to see the truth. And this energy will not allow you to continue to do that. And so if there's something that's been hidden and buried and that you're keeping hidden and buried from yourself, that truth is coming out. And the truth does set you free. Because if you're not living in reality, then it's a house of cards that is going to fall down at some point. And now you get to control that. So this is the best time to do work on the old programs, especially about self-worth and value and money. if you're not seeing the success that you should be seeing, Taurus, from a financial perspective, you've got old programming that's still running around in your subconscious mind, some belief systems that you don't deserve to have nice things, that you have to work hard in order to enjoy nice things. And not everybody thinks that way, but some of you do. Then this is the time to break free from that. Now, some of you could have a big idea, because 12th house is large institutions, that sets you up to take a new leadership role. Some of you may decide that this is the time you're going to become an entrepreneur, which is also very much Aries energy. But just again, if you're going to start your own business, this is about making sure you have a solid business plan. I always recommend doing some kind of a pilot program. Start small. Don't just take on a huge commitment to do something you've never imagined yourself doing before without testing the waters. And so this is that period of time where you can do that type of work as well. And keep in mind, the new moon takes 6 months before the idea comes to a full realization. So baby steps, really good planning. You aren't unhappy moving forward slowly. So stay true to who you are and watch how much changes. And again, I promise you, once Uranus leaves, this weird energy that's shaking things up in your life will move on and things will start to settle down. But hopefully you did the work and you broke free from all the situations that have been holding you back. All right. And then next we have Gemini. So Gemini, this happens for you in your 11th house of friend groups. And with this new moon there, you can be meeting the right people. So this is about being in the right place at the right time, joining with groups, finding a mentor that helps you develop your mind, right? Develop your communication skills in some way. And this is something that is long-term for you as well. So when you have the right friends, right? Think of your friend house is about Aries energy. So these are friends who are strong, they're leaders, they're independent, they should motivate you. If you have friends that don't do that, that's what the Chiron lesson is. It's showing you the friends or the work groups that you're a part of that hold you back. And what they should be doing is lifting you up. So as I mentioned at the beginning, there are things that we might have to end, friendships, work groups, if they don't help us to feel confident. Now, of course, we own being confident, but there still will be people around you that whittle away at your confidence. And those are the people that you're letting go of now, making space for this new energy, this new beginning in your life. And I also call the 11th house your fairy godparent energy. And so that can bring, a benefactor, somebody who wants to help you. And that is the greatest gift of all. Now, you'll have to decide if Uranus in your sign is a great gift, but that is coming April 25th. So how did you feel with this energy here last summer? Were you inspired? Were you motivated? Were you getting work done? Were the details easier for you to grasp? Did you grasp them really quickly? Did you have a lot of aha moments? That can give you some clues to what these big changes will look like in your life as we have Uranus move into your sign. So this is the last bit of the cleanup work that you need to do in order to have that breath of fresh air come in. And in order to feel strong and confident with that Uranus energy in your 12th house, you've got to get rid of the old programming, the old ways of thinking that allow you to hold yourself back. You're an air sign. You're meant to teach others. It's hard to teach others if you're not confident in what it is that you have to say. And so this is the time where you're going to do the work. You're going to meet the right people that are going to help you become that teacher. And you may be teaching things that are about the sky, the space. Innovation, astrology is something that's aligned with Uranus energy as well. So this is a big shift and change for you, Geminis. And I think you will end up feeling inspired by these changes. But you got to let that old programming go. And you've got to let those people go that hold you back and welcome in the people that are going to lift you up. And then we have Cancers. Cancer, this is happening for you in your 10th house of career. And so this is about a new beginning in the work that you do. So again, this could be something of an entrepreneurial nature. This can be something in a leadership role. This is something that you would be willing to fight for, something that you're willing to stand up for and make a difference. You definitely have to have a role as far as your career goes, where you have a lot of control over the direction of your career or over the direction of other people. So this is a huge shift and change, and you are one of those people where I'm saying you have got to let go of and heal any connection to imposter syndrome in order to really take a hold of this new opportunity and move forward with now living your passion, right? So we always say a job doesn't feel like a job once we're doing what we really love, because we just feel inspired and motivated on a daily basis. And that's what you have now. When you think about that Aries energy to you, Cancers, this is, energy that creates a square. This is also cardinal energy, though. And so this is something, this change in direction that can feel really dramatic, but it gets you going. So if you're offered something now that seems so very different from what you've been doing, which is taking care of other people, which is fixing all of their problems and not focusing on yourself, then this could surprise the people in your life, especially, maybe the people at home, that you're now doing what you want just for yourself, taking care of yourself and going after your dreams. And that can feel a little confronting. So just make sure that you keep communicating with the people in your life, especially your family, about what this dream means for you, why it's so important that you do it. And then you'll end up having the support you need to move this forward. But this could bring significant changes. And let's say you don't work, maybe you're retired. Do you find something to do in your retired life that just inspires you now? Maybe you're still in school and haven't quite decided what I'm doing afterwards. And this again will light you up in some way, because somebody will come in and show you what's possible, and you'll start to believe, yes, it is possible, and I'm going to go for it. And you'll be really glad you did. But again, slowly making changes. So if you're transitioning from one career to another, again, you're just going to start moving all the puzzle pieces so that you're ready and open to accepting all of the changes and all the information that's coming in. So this is a slow transition, but you're going to start to realize what's possible going forward because of this new moon in Aries. All right. Then we have our next fire sign, which is Leo. And so this is energy that feeds you, fills you up, gets the fires burning within. And this is in your 9th house. of growth and expansion. So Leos, you have this huge opportunity to do something that matters this year. And here's where you get those breakthroughs that show you what's possible. Now, the ninth house is a spiritual house. It's where we go to expand our boundaries because this is ruled by Jupiter. So a lot of times we talk about this being foreign countries, foreign languages, higher education, such as expanding your knowledge base. You could decide that you're going back to school, earning some kind of degree, or a course of study that's spiritual in nature. Whatever this is, it's about you getting outside your norm, expanding your circle, and not just doing the same thing over and over again, right? We can't hold on to, our safe place in the community and expect things to grow and change. We've got to get out. We have to live life. We have to experience life to the fullest. And there's something that will come in and help you do that at this time. There could be someone that provides you with the motivation and the inspiration to do something bigger and more important than you expected yourself to ever do. Now, you're Leos. You have a passion for life. You're fun. You're adventurous. You're happy to always get out there and get going. This just fuels that and takes it to the next level. So with the little caveat that you don't want your ego so big that you forget about the little people that got you here. So keep them in mind. Think of your base, your support, your community, and how they've stood by you, and make sure that you are giving them thanks and gratitude as you take this next step, and don't let them feel like you're leaving them behind. But what you're called to do, which is what I think the ninth house is about right now, is truly important. This is not something that you can choose not to do. This is your time to shine, to grow. And so you're going to grab a hold of this opportunity, and it's going to take you in places that you've never expected you would ever go. But you have to go anyway, because it'll be so very much worth it. All right, Virgos. I keep telling you, you're almost done with all of the release and all of the healing and all of the letting go. And as I've talked before with you and that South Node, especially you early degree Virgos, this is, activated right now by the new moon ruler with that Mars connection, the Saturn connection. So there is a realization, and maybe that realization is in the 8th house about this transformation journey that you've been on, and the things that you do that are creating this, like an illness really for you. That thought process, that relationship, that job, that connection to money, there is something that's still toxic and unhealthy that you need to purge and release so that you can be stronger, that you can be healthier. So for you guys, this is a really good time to do things like detox. Ideal time where you could do a detox and it would stick. It would do the cleanse. It would do the things that you need so that you are healthier and stronger than you've ever been before. Because remember, the 8th house is about power. It's about transformation. It's also about our intimate relationships. And so with the fire of this new moon, you can burn away anything that is keeping you from fully stepping into your power. So as I mentioned, Virgo energy, very controlling. I got to be perfect. All of that thinking holds you back because you're playing things too safely. You don't take risks when you have to be perfect. You don't try new things because if you're not perfect, which is really hard to be when we try something for the first time, you don't want to do it. you have to let that go. We have to take risks. We have to try new things. We'll never know if we like something or we can be good at it until we start to try. And so this is the time each year where we can go through a huge change and transformation, let go of that need to be perfect, and start over in some way. So the healing journey that you are on is something that you own completely, but it could also be breaking free of things that keep ruining the intimate relationships that you're a part of. Because the thing about intimacy, which the 8th house rules, sexuality, is we can't be close to other people if we don't think we deserve love. And so maybe that's the wound and that's what you're healing. And as you heal, then you become more powerful and closer. And when we heal those kinds of wounds, they have an effect on our financial picture as well. And the 8th house is money that comes to us from other people. People may be wanting to invest in us. There can be inheritances. There can be, money that you've been waiting for that finally comes in to give you what you need as far as resources to complete a goal or a dream that you have for yourself. So, do the work. Finish the work. You have between now and July to finish purging, releasing, getting rid of old systems and structures, and letting go of perfectionism so that you're fully in your power. And as this power comes to you through this new moon, remember to not let it go to your head. Take it slowly, one step at a time. So yes, there is some of those Virgo skills that help you plan, have structure, can, fuel your OCD-ness too. So just be careful to not become overwhelmed. But those skills that you do have are what will help you take this new power and do something with it at the right pace so that you can step into the new you. And then we have Libras. So Libra, as we talked earlier, now we're in the second half of the zodiac, and now the switch is flipped, and your new beginning happens in your 7th house of relationships, which Libra rules over the 7th house of commitments, marriage, serious long-term friendships. And so there's a new beginning that's coming for you there. This can bring you a ideal partner, one who's strong, sexy, right? That Mars energy, independent, passionate, and that does a great job of offsetting your genuine nature. You're kind and giving and people-pleasing to the nth degree. But something about this person that enters your life now, this relationship that begins now, or maybe a relationship that you're in that becomes reinvigorated, helps you realize, and this is what the point of the opposing energy is, how taking care of yourself is the best thing you can do for your relationship. Stop focusing on the other person, what they need, what would make their life easier, what would make their life better. This is when you realize taking care of yourself first actually will make your relationship better, because when you are willing to focus on yourself, guess what? That means your partner, the energy needs to match, also starts looking at how to do better at either taking care of themselves or taking care of you, or both, right? You're learning to balance the give and take in your relationships as a result of the healing energy of this new moon, of this new beginning. And then keep in mind, when that Uranus energy moves into a fellow air sign, that can also breathe life into you again, breathe life into your relationships as a result of this shift and change in energy that comes in just another week's time. So if you've been struggling in the relationship arena, You're going to feel stronger and more confident in asking for what you want in a partner, and that person can materialize. But if you don't heal yourself, you don't think you're worthy, you don't think you're beautiful enough, you want to attract a partner where you're at right now instead of waiting when you're this perfect thing that you think you need to be in order to be in a relationship. The number one killer of not having or being in a relationship is what we think about ourselves and what we think about relationships. You can't attract a relationship in if you don't think you deserve one. And not everybody wants to be in a relationship, and that's okay too. So the relationship that you may decide you're working on is the one you have with yourself. That Aries energy can be about just healing the relationship that you have with yourself, accepting yourself as you are, loving yourself as you are. All of those things are possible. And if you want to do that, wear your rose quartz. That's where the self-healing and the self-love energy combines with your own so that you learn how to be caring and loving and speaking caring and lovingly with yourself. But if you're looking for a relationship and you want to clear out all of that unsupportive thinking that keeps you from having it, now's your best time. And then, even though this is like, woo, this is fiery, this is passionate, still slow down so you don't burn out before you get to truly realize what's possible. All right. Then we have Scorpios. Scorpios, this is exciting because it's in your 6th house. So this is a new beginning that rules over your health, your work, your day-to-day life, the day-to-day routines that are a part of your life. And this would be the ideal time to make a change in your career that may be more focused on healing. Now, a lot of times the Scorpio energy could be a counselor. It's 8th house energy, so it's rebirth and transformation. This would be a great time to become a transformation coach. You may be in a career where you help people transform their bodies, right? And it also is another sign, because it's a water sign, where this Aries energy can help you take on leadership roles. It can help you take on entrepreneurial type of roles as well. So you're wanting to make a difference in the work that you do and in the lives of other people. Now, Scorpio wants day-to-day life to feel intense and to have a lot of change and transformation. If you're not careful with learning how to manage that energy, you'll end up changing jobs all the time because you're constantly chasing a high. You're constantly chasing what's taboo and what's forbidden instead of using this energy in a way that rebuilds, reshapes, retransforms what you've been a part of. You can't be stagnant in what you do. So you have to learn how to create excitement and change in, the career that you're a part of, or you'll suffer career burnout. So there can be some awakening, some realization where you understand that you actually have control over what happens and how you create change that's exciting in your day-to-day life without creating a crisis first. So you don't have to have a crisis for there to be change. You can create intensity in your day-to-day life all on your own. So these energies are really important for you to have a good workout routine. But again, you just have to be careful that you don't burn out because you need so much intensity. So there's a good learning process, an awakening and understanding of how much power you have and control over your day-to-day life, and how you can take your power back during this new moon and heal and stop creating, financial disasters for yourself because you're just keep chasing the high, chasing the next shortcut, the next big thing. yeah, just that isn't, has it worked out for you so far? If that's the pattern that you're in, has it ever worked out? And if not, then it's time to change your approach. And this is the perfect time to do that. And if you do it slowly, which I know it's hard, but you can do it, then you can have the slow burn in a good way, right? It's like when you're lifting weights, you can rush to try to hurry through the process, or you can lift the weight and then slowly release it. So it creates the burn, it creates the tension to actually build something for your future. That's what you're doing right now, Scorpios. You're building something for your future that you can maintain and have some stability. And that's the best gift you can possibly give yourself at this time. And then we have Sagittarius. Sagittarius, this is happening in your 5th house. So you're starting something new that could have something to do with a child. It could have something to do with a hobby, anything that speaks to your heart and that you're passionate about, something that brings you joy. Again, as another fellow fire sign, you enjoy this intensity. You enjoy that the passion has returned to your life. And so there's something new that is coming in at this time, and you're very fired up about it. And so just the caution is this new passion, this new hobby, and this new romance, right? You're going to put yourself into this all the way. But if you put everything in at the beginning, you will burn out. So you want to be careful and pace yourself and move forward with excitement, but not too much that what you thought was going to be fun ends up feeling like way too much work, and you burn out as a result of that. So instead, if you've been feeling lost or disconnected and, lacking fire, this can be a good time to set intentions to reconnect with an old hobby, with romance. Like you can revive the romance in your life with the help of this fresh start and this new beginning. Also, a lot of times when we try to take a hobby and turn it into a career, you're another one that can suffer a bit from, the imposter syndrome. So this is a good time to heal that. And if you've been cut off from your heart, not allowing yourself to feel joy, still angry or upset about something that's hurt your heart in the past, then now's the time to heal that. And now's the time for you to own it. And if you've caused someone pain, then now's your opportunity to heal that rift so that, again, you can move forward. If you've been feeling too hurt to allow yourself to love again, then this is the time for you to heal from that. And then as a result of healing and believing that you deserve love, even if you did something in the past that wasn't very loving, you can invite in a new opportunity to begin again, to open your heart again, to feel love again, to feel passion again. And maybe your dream has been to have children and that's not come to fruition. Now's the time to reset and believe that you deserve it, that you are going to be a good parent, and believe that fully so that that can come to be your reality at this time as well. This can be a very beautiful, very joyful time for you, Sagittariuses. So go with that feeling of love and being loving, and watch all the things that come in and start to fill your heart up at this time. All right. And then we have Capricorns. So Capricorn, again, you are a cardinal sign, just like Aries. There's something that challenges you in order to start something new. And the challenge is in your 4th house of home and family. So this is a new beginning. This is a new foundation that you're creating for yourself. Some of you, Aries, may see a home situation that, burns up so that the new home can come in. So something dramatic could happen within your family, within the foundation of your family, that opens the door for a new beginning. And sometimes there can be big heated exchanges among the family, and maybe there were in the past, and then this is the time to heal those rifts. So if you've dreamed about home ownership, growing or changing your home, then that dream can become your reality at this time. Now, it could be a time where if you've had a sick family member, that there is a new opportunity for them to heal. And again, there's just this need to heal the relationships within your family at this time as well. But you could move. You could get a new job opportunity that causes you to make a big move. But just remember, if you're changing homes and there's all this fiery energy, that has you feeling overwhelmed, you just need to break it all down piece by piece, bit by bit, and figure out the way forward. And don't rush. Because if we rush when we're trying to do something like buy a new home, we could end up regretting what we end up with because we were so caught up in the excitement of all of the things that we skipped over some of the details. So just take this very slowly. But this is something that, making this move or healing this rift that you have within your family, maybe with a mother specifically, ends up helping grow your career, right? Because the opposite of the 4th house, of course, is the 10th house of career. And if you don't have a good, strong foundation at home, it's really difficult for you to be able to succeed. So there is something very foundational within yourself that could be needing a fresh start, a fresh perspective, a fresh belief in yourself that you can heal this wound, and then the outcome ends up that your career actually takes off as a result instead. And maybe for some of you, like I said, it's a move because of a desire to have more control, more power over your career that comes about. But again, it could be big, it could be shocking, it could be surprising. So be a little careful around the house, Capricorns. And next we have Aquarius. So Aquarius, this is energy for a new beginning that happens in your 3rd house of your community, of communication, of thinking, of teaching, of studying, taking classes. So all of those are possible. This is feeling confident in what you know. So it is a really good time to be taking classes, to gain knowledge, to expand on what you know so that you are able to speak up with a voice of authority. This is probably the best time to do things like joining a Toastmasters group where you practice speaking in front of other people so you become confident. The thing about the Aquarius energy, the opposite house, Leo, well, Leos are so comfortable on stage, they don't even have to think about it. They just talk and they sound like they know what they're talking about, and people believe them and listen. That's why they make great actors. But Aquarius is better behind the scenes. They don't necessarily want to be out front and on stage. So you have to do the balance of both of those things where you feel more confident, being the supporting player in behind the scenes work, but you will be called upon to go on stage at this time, and you have to be confident and able to speak up. You just have to believe in what you're speaking about. That's where the true confidence comes from, is believe in what you're saying. And you have to connect with the energy. You have to be open-minded. You've got to figure out how to relate whatever this topic is to something that you do know really well, And when you make those connections, you'll feel more comfortable because you understand how the pieces of the puzzle fit together. Even though this is something you really don't know enough about, you know enough about how things work to start putting this together in a way that you can speak confidently about whatever it is. So this is about opening your mind, learning new things, gaining confidence to speak up with authority. So do whatever you can right now to start building on your skills as it relates to speaking up and speaking your mind. But just be careful. Like I said, you've got Mars in there. You can come off very aggressively with your opinions if you are not careful. So you have to slowly step up and step into your feeling of authority. Don't go over the top. But you have a chance to really start to stand up with the knowledge that you're gaining at this time. So enjoy this period. Over the next 6 weeks, you could really transform it and change, and people will notice you and start to recognize you for a big shift and change. And last but never least, as I always say, Pisces, this is a big new opportunity in the second house of the money that you make. So there is a leadership opportunity that is coming your way. As long as you really want it, you have to believe that you have the skills necessary to succeed. And you have to be willing to step up and work through this, take the reins, go forward with something, maybe even if it's not handed to you just yet. But this is where you're starting to do the work and to show people that you have the skills that are needed to accomplish this. But you're definitely taking the reins now in your ability to make money, to take on a leadership role, to coach and teach other people, and just taking more control of your finances is something else. But it all starts with making sure you are confident about your skills and your ability, and you don't have doubt, and you're not second guessing what it is that you want for yourself. And that's the other thing. Do you really want this opportunity? Are you willing to fight for it? And if so, you have to show up and fight, which, yeah, Pisces, that's not your strongest suit. And you have to be careful that you don't go over the top with what this is that you are wanting to stand up and fight for. But you're going to feel extremely motivated in the second house of the money that you make, which of course is your job. So take advantage of it over the next 6 weeks. Keep looking at the opportunities for you to take charge and just step up, even if nobody asks you to, because that's going to get the attention that you need for the next opportunity that does come. Because remember, this is energy that we're building from. So maybe just now you're deciding what you want. And then, as I mentioned, all the people are going to start to show up. The opportunities will show up. And the answer to, why didn't I get that last thing, will suddenly become very clear. And maybe you'll be glad you waited until now. All right. Whew. That's a lot. There's a lot of potential and possibilities in this energy, but we have to heal. We have to believe in ourselves in order for these new things to unfold in the way that is most beneficial for us. We have to believe in it. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe we want it. We have to go after what we want in a methodical way. So I can't wait to hear your comments in what is going to be showing up for you. And again, make sure you go out to my website, that you become a member, and then that way you have access to the new moon worksheet that will be out there so that you can work on that this weekend and help shape your dreams, shape your future, figure out what you're going after and what you want. So I'll have a ceremony in there. I'll have a space for you to work on your 10 new moon wishes and intentions, and just, again, some ideas on what to focus those intentions on. And of course, you can come back and watch this video again as well. So I know it's extra long. That's why the timestamps are out there for you. So you can come back in, maybe use your worksheet with this video and get yourself set up. But this is the best time for you to do that work. So don't let it pass you by. And then we'll come back next week and talk about how we're moving forward. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. And I will talk with you next week. Take care.